o'clock. I think you know what time it is. Yes, it's time to get ill. We all know this. It is time for 3 in, 3 out, written, performed, recorded, re-recorded, everything, distributed exclusively for the Seahawkers Podcast. Of course, we know this already. This is going to be a special. Sometimes we do the video, and that's the video special edition. This is the special. So it's a kind of a podcast version with some light visuals, with some Easter eggs in there for all the flockers out there to enjoy as well. So watch to the end. We're of course going to keep the From the Flock section, so I'll put some of the contributions on screen later. There'll be some little Easter eggs throughout, so if you're watching it on YouTube, fantastic. If you're just listening, well, that's okay too. I think it'll still be all right for you. But anywho, so listen, I had a plan. First things first, the short week with the game on Monday, and then with Thanksgiving tomorrow. Right now it's Thanksgiving Eve. Can you believe it? And so I'm just not going to have a chance to write the long form post, and even doing the video with this condensed week is going to be super tough. So this is the fastest path from A to Turkey, as they say. So we get this kind of this audio visual special version today. Hope everybody enjoys it. Hope we add some color and hopefully some flavor, and hopefully a little smiles here and there for what is a tough week for a Seahawks fan. Let me tell you about my plan real quick. So I had a plan. I had a real good plan. So my mom, her name is Lorraine. She's a big Vikings fan. She's got the ugly Vikings Christmas sweater and the hat and the whole thing already. Big Vikings fan for a long time. And so she lives up in Niantic, Connecticut, about 15 minutes north or east-northeast if you're being all nautical like. Nice little town in Connecticut, and there's a bar called the Lime Tavern, which is actually, we affectionately called it the Slime Tavern back maybe a decade or so ago. Watched a lot of football there myself, but they have a big Viking contingent there. Now, it's not like Carlo East in Manhattan it's not like a Seahawks bar or a Vikings bar per se, but they do a nice job for Sunday football, and usually 15 or 20 Viking fans pile into one spot. So my plan was as such, and again, I thought it was really, really strong. I would bring her, down to the Lime Tavern, and get some wings, have a few beers, enjoy, and watch the Vikings whip up on the Rams and catfish the Rams and the whole thing already. That part of the plan went exceptionally well. Had a wonderful day. Met some nice Viking fans. They were doing some screen timing, or FaceTiming, I guess you would call it if you're on an Apple. They were doing some FaceTiming with some folks who were live at the game, right? Some other Vikings fans that were out there that would usually kind of hang out at that bar. That was cool. And, watching Case Keenum hit Thielen and him running for 1,000 yards in one game, also cool, yards after catch. And watching the Rams go down in flames, always enjoyable, always cool. So part 1 of the plan was fantastic. Had a really, really good Sunday. Part 2 of the plan was to dominate work on Monday. Check the box there. That was fantastic. Had a great work day. Strong like bull. Get the kids to where they had to go. The wife works on Monday nights. She does her thing. So I'm Mr. Momming it back and forth from dance classes and other things that are happening and yada, yada, yada. And then I get home and, I'm able to crack a beer and I'm able to sit down. And the only part of the plan that didn't go to plan was the game itself. The Seahawks game versus the Falcons. And we're going to dive into that. But I wanted to lead you in with, I think it's a Mike Tyson quote that, that's something about the best laid plans. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, right? And so I had a great plan, executed it flawlessly, real nice. Hitting the gaps, strong. Second level, strong. Tried to get to that tertiary level, and things fell apart. So we're going to get into what fell apart for our beloved Seahawks on this 3 in, 3 out. And like I said, keep watching, because not only do we have the From the Flock, which we're going to have some nice visuals on screen, this audio visual special audible edition of 3 in, 3 out, written exclusively for the Seahawkers Podcast, of course. But we're also going to have some Easter eggs throughout. Something like That looks like a nice, good family movie right there. Cannot wait till that's streaming on anything. Hulu, Amazon, Netflix. I'll be watching. Hope you will too. All right, so I guess enough with the dilly dallying. We got a job to do. We got to get to it. All right, so we're gonna start. We kind of have this little tradition when we win, we start with an in. When we lose, which is way too many times this year, we're gonna start with an out. So let's get to it. Let's start with an out. I'm gonna go right to the crux of the who I actually thought might have been kind of the GOAT of this game. And not to say you're not going to hear this name later, but the GOAT I don't think it's Blair Walsh. And I'm going to avoid all the second guessing of the coaches because it's not really second guessing. I mean, they were just wrong, just flat out wrong. But I think there was a Seahawk that we have come so accustomed to being so good, so consistent, and if he has an off day, it's so jarring because you just do not expect it from this person. He's been so good, we've actually dubbed him EDB, or Elite Doug Baldwin. But I'm going to give Doug the first out, the first meaningful number one slot out. Not that they weigh more than the others, but this was Doug did not seem to have the most focused game. It's not just that drop. That was a really bad drop in a bad situation, something he's got to come down with. And man, 99, not even 9 out of 10, because that doesn't do it justice, but 99 out of 100 times he makes that catch just easily. But that third down drop, but then to, kind of coax Coach Carroll into believing that he caught it. And I'm not going to blame Coach Carroll for, listen to Carroll's press conference. He kind of said, I'm going to believe Doug, and I'll believe him next time too. He said he didn't have the angle that we saw at home. So it's not only the real bad drop, but then it's kind of coaxing Coach Carroll to throw the flag there, burn a timeout when we all saw with our own eyes pretty much right away that this had no shot. And then also there's a few other instances early in the game. Russell throws a dime pretty much into triple coverage, but regardless, Russell splits what seems to be, I'm not sure if it's a linebacker, it's certainly a DB, and it's definitely the deep safety. And Baldwin is right there in position to go up and get that ball, like right at the goal line. It's like a 25, 30-yard pass, just right down the seam. And Baldwin just misses it. He just kind of mistimes it. I don't think he expected Russell to try it because he was covered. But lo and behold, Russell did try it. He had the right amount of zip on it. The ball was right there. And Baldwin just kind of times it a little bit. It just kind of fades, rips right through his hands. But it looked like he never actually had a shot at it. But if you go back and watch it, he should have caught the ball. He had a darn good shot at it. He just needed to time it a little bit better. So these things combined, it's just very rare for Elite Doug Baldwin to come out and have a par or subpar game for our Seahawks. We're just so used to seeing him at a very, very high standard where basically he catches everything, where he's always money. He's the go-to guy on third down, and if he's got contested balls or if he's got a chance to make a play down the seam, he just makes it. And in this game, he didn't. So as much as it pains me, I've got to give this first out to number 89, Elite Doug Baldwin. Now, is he still elite? Yeah. People have bad days. He just didn't have his best focus on out there, it seemed like, and he didn't have a huge game, and probably a real big contributor as to why we lost this one. So first out, unfortunately, goes to number 89, Elite Doug Baldwin with the first out. All right, let's hop on over. Let's get to a win. There was good, I promise you. Let's hop on over to a win. Let's do it now. Whoa, screen weaver, I believe you can get me the first down. Yeah, Flock, that's right. Going all falsetto, just for y'all. we're calling this first in, Screen Weaver. We can keep this one kind of pithy and just say, man, oh man, was it cool to see an actual screen game, right? We had some aggressive blitzing from the Falcons coming off the edge there, with Beasley on one end and Claiborne on the other. And, so the answer to that, to folks who are going to over pursue, is a screen game. It's been something we haven't seen an effective screen game in a long time. So between Mike Davis, who we certainly hope comes back fast from that groin injury, and some McKissick action. There were two very big gain screens in this game. In fact, there was one in the third quarter that could have went a lot longer. Posick just decided to forget how to block. He just wasn't that he went out and missed. He just went out and just didn't find his guy. So it wasn't like he misexecuted as much as misread where he should be with his big body. And it was a good gain, really good game, but it could have been huge. Could have been, possibly like a 40-plus yard or maybe even a touchdown if Posick decided to block. Could have taken it to the house. That certainly would have been nice. We had a couple of plays in this game where some shoestring tackles prevented much bigger plays. That Russ scramble on that last drive certainly comes to mind, where he gets just tripped up by the shoelaces and goes down after a nice gain. But we got to find these ins and these things that are good inside sometimes a not so hot game. And in this case, the establishing of some screen game was really nice to see. We had some good things going there, and so specifically, really cool to see that we had a bit of a screen game going, and for us to execute two big time screens in this game, kind of flawlessly, just really beautifully. I mean, man, does this take some pressure off of Russ too, where maybe on some of these plays where he doesn't have to run for his life, and maybe on some of these plays where a defense thinks they've got a free release because they're getting other ones with it where they still get to the quarterback pretty quickly. They think they got another one. Man, if we're not going to block that well, we should be a fantastic screening team, because the defense feels quite often that they've got a path to the quarterback. So every now and again, you slip in a screen and you run it and execute it effectively. It should work, because we do give up a decent amount of sacks, and we definitely give up a ton of QB pressures. We just happen to have Houdini back there to get out of a good majority of them. So with that, this first in goes to the establishment and the establishing and everything else already of a screen game. And, and the first in is to Screen Weaver. And we'll leave it there. All right, we got some more outs to get to, because you don't lose 34-31 at home and only have one out. As you, of course, know, we mention every single time, whether it's in the written word or the oral word or the video word, or all the ways, the words, maybe in some emoji. Maybe you get some catfish in the Rams via the emoji, which, of course, you would see quite a lot of if you're on the Seahawkers Ring of Honor on Facebook, which is so much fun. Highly suggest that if you are a listener to the Seahawkers podcast, and if you're not, first of all, do better. And second of all, if you are, then, pony up some of that bread and get into the Ring of Honor. Just for that alone, it's worth the price of admission, as they say. But we do lots of emojis and lots of GIFs and everything else over there. Ton of fun. But, circling back to another out, 7-0 early, and we all know we have our early game, early inning woes, if you will. And we're down 7-0, and the Falcons are driving the ball. And, throughout this year, it just seems that our defensive backs, when they get a chance and they get their hands on the ball, we're just not coming up with the key turnovers, and the chances for the turnover are there. The chances are there. And in this case, we got to give the out to, on this singular play. Now he got, I think he played all right. I mean, the man is Jeremy Lane, so let's let the hawker out of the bag here. I think he played okay, considering this is a depleted Legion of Boom. We all know this. We saw Shaq go out, second play of the game, and he's in concussion protocol or shoulder. I think he's got a shoulder injury, maybe concussion, maybe he concussed his shoulder. I'm not sure. Either way, I'll catch up tomorrow after I'm stuffed with turkey and get prepared for Sunday's game. But we saw Shaq go out. We saw Maxwell come in and play pretty well. And Lane did okay. Lane got burnt over the middle like he typically does on some different crossing routes. I don't know. It's kind of one of Lane's weaknesses, I suppose, and maybe really any DB matched up against good receivers. Covering the middle of the field is just difficult unless you're Earl Thomas, and you're a Hall of Famer. But specifically, the out isn't just for the overall play. Because I think overall he played all right, but we're always looking for the nooks and them crannies as we talk about on 3 in, 3 out. And to me, it's just that missed interception, right? So the Falcons are up 7-0. The Falcons are driving, and they got the ball, down by the goal line, and we get a batted ball in the air, and it's just in Lane's hands. It's his to win. And yeah, there's some other people there with their mitts and their paws and everything else already, and their foam knuckles and whatever else you put into a melee like that. But the first shot at just making the interception was Lane's. It was just in his hands. He's got to come down with that ball. And again, it kind of has been this permeation, right? This thing that's happening to all the DBs this year. Chancellor had a couple of drops in a couple of weeks previous where he had his hands on the ball. One of the Kirk Cousin balls with that should have changed that game dramatically as well. And the Legion of Boom, he's got to clean it up. We talk about details, we talk about focus earlier with Baldwin's out. In this case, Lane gets the out. He's just got to corral that ball. I don't care if you use a Star Trek tractor beam. I don't care. Do what you got to do. If you need to invent on the fly, then do it, Lane. Or, just catch it. That's probably easier. Just catch it. So with that, Lane's going to catch the out on this one because that is just such a key play. Would have been such a key turnover in a game like this. Had to have it. Didn't have it. So Lane gets the out. All right, over to another in we go. By the way, earlier I think I called an in a win because that's how much I want to win. I want to win, right? But I called it a win. Should have been an in. My bad. Let's hop to an in. I keep saying that I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to keep it pithy, and then I get these run-on sentences in my brain. They got to come out. So, that's the way it goes when you get an audio, visual, podcast / video / audio surprise short week. Well, then you get run-on sentences. And that's how it happens. This one, I'm going to try and corral and just capture the emotion of it. This in is pretty darn simple. This in is down 21-10, 4th and 1. We're at the 1 yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. And what do we do with the ball? We give the ball to Russell Wilson. He rolls out. He has the option to do what he wants to do with the ball. He sees, that he's got a little space ahead of him. He does a little mini Russell thing, and he just scampers into the end zone for that huge touchdown. That moment, absolutely huge touchdown. Downs previous, we're trying to stuff the ball in. We can't gain a half a yard. We can't get a yard to save our lives. And I think we also tried a fade earlier in that series to Jimmy. I think we've learned by now that 20% of the time fades work every time. Like the fade route to Jimmy is not a fantastic route, but the 4th and 1, get Wilson outside, give him some options, let him have options as to what he wants to go do with the ball, whether that's to throw it, whether that's to run it. He sees a tiny bit of daylight, makes his move, goes into the end zone basically untouched. You just let Russell Wilson do Russell Wilson things from the 1 yard line. This was a big thing to me. It certainly didn't eradicate the ghosts of the play that shall not be talked about, or the gut punch that Super Bowl loss still induces whenever I think about it. I know that exact feeling. It's a mid to lower guttural disappointment, and it's still there to this day, and hopefully it never goes away because it feeds me. But with that, this was huge. We learned, right? I think it's kind of what life's about, right? You get knocked down, you get back up. You get knocked down, you get back up. You get knocked down 8 times, you get back up a 9th time, right? And you try something new. So on this 4th and 1, down 11 points from the 1-yard line, we let Russell do Russell things, gives us a touchdown. Absolutely beautiful. All right, Flock. So we got one more out to hand out, and we're breaking the mold here. We're breaking the mold. We got something brand new for you. Hopefully, well, let's just get to it. So when I started 3 and 3 out, which is going on like 2.5 years. This, I guess, is the 3rd season we're doing this. Grateful that the boys from the podcast give me a platform and give us a platform. It's really, really cool and a lot of fun to do. Get a lot of enjoyment out of it every single week. I never did think, I thought, okay, maybe there'd be times where we give out, we knew we give outs to players. Maybe we would give an out to a unit. Sometimes we give an out to a reffing group if they're so poor, so egregious that they literally change the game themselves. It does tend to happen to us. I don't think I ever thought that I would be handing it out to not just a fan, but a super fan and a member of the flock, a member of the Seahawkers Ring of Honor. But in this case, I don't think I have a choice. I think cosmically, I need to do this. I need to hand the out. I need to hand this out to one Mr. Flocktimus Prime. So Flocktimus, Keith Ketover, I have to give you the out. Now, of course, I say this tongue in cheek. Of course, I don't believe that you somehow altered the universe through the zeros and ones and the bits that you put into Facebook on that fateful afternoon. Or nope, that was evening. It was a Monday night. Let's recap that. But with that, I'll put it on screen for everybody to see. But we're driving down the second half. We got all the momentum in the world after being down big twice in this game, right? Being down double digits twice in the first half. We're clawing back into this game. We're about to kick a field goal and get this thing, and just take all the momentum and go into halftime knowing we get the ball back and be really close. And Flocktimus Prime, in all his glory, in all his wisdom, perhaps, puts out a little thing on Facebook on the Ring of Honor that let's see, it reads. Let me get this straight. Time for a fake field goal. Period. So November 20th at 10:05 p.m. Eastern, my man Keith Ketover, Flocktimus Prime, posts time for a fake field goal. And I think we all know and believe that he was just kind of joking, just putting it out there, like, who in the freaking world would call a fake field goal when you've got all this momentum, when it's clearly a shootout. But anyway, he put it out there. And, I remember reading that and starting to type something. And then I stopped because I'm like, this is I'm not even going to type anything. Then I watched the play unfold where we decided to run a shuffle pass. Yeah, we ran a shuffle pass to our backup tight end. Just to recap this real quick. We ran a shuffle pass to our backup tight end with 7 seconds to go on the clock. And, about 20 some odd yards to get into the end zone because he would need to rumble, stumble, bumble into the end zone to make this count. Then you see Tyler Ott completely turned around. I don't want to see Tyler Ott's face ever. Tyler Ott, go out there, snap the ball, run off the field. I don't need to see your face. Bottom line is, if you see Tyler Ott's face on a play, that face probably didn't go too well. That play, I should say, probably didn't go too well. And no, the face didn't go too well. The play didn't go too well. Nothing went too well. It all crumbled, actually. And obviously we know Luke Wilson just gets eaten up, goes nowhere. Dumbest play call ever. But at least part in jests and part in rebalancing the Hawkra and the cosmicality of it all. I've got to give this out to one Flocktimus Prime for posting on Facebook right before it happened. Time for a fake field goal. Time for a fake field goal. All right, we got time for one more in, just because that's what the rules say, right? 3 in, 3 out. We're not gonna, we're not here to make the rules, here to break the rules. But in this case, we made the rules, so I guess we got to follow the rules. So for 3 in, 3 out, we got one more in to go over. We talked last week or the week before, I forget, about like having some good combo meal deals, right, and having some bad combo meal deals. So this one's kind of a combo deal, but it's kind of nice because they're also sequential, which is mathematically interesting, right? So it's on a defensive line. What I want to give this into a paired combo of number 91 and number 92. So put real simply, we didn't have these two players last year. We did not have Sheldon Richardson, and we did not have Nas Jones. So one via our GM being Wile Coyote, and the other being our GM, I guess, being Wile Coyote again, because got one in the draft, got one in the trade, one in a trade, and these are we knew what Sheldon Richardson was, and you could argue overperformed, underperformed, performed what we thought he would for this team. But nobody really knew Nas Jones whatsoever. Just, looked good on film, looked impressive. We know we wanted to continue to get pressure right up the gut and continue our run-stuffing ways. If you go back and rewatch this game, the Atlanta offense, yes, they death-killed us on third down. Let's also tip the hat to some of these catches they made. We talked earlier that our DBs, considering we're missing 2 Hall of Famers out there, didn't play poorly. Our DBs played okay. Got a little burnt on some of those crossing routes, but that's what the Falcons do to teams. But on those third downs, that the DBs let up some third downs, the Falcons made some ridiculous catches. Ridiculous. Going back to one of the reasons we lost, not just Doug Baldwin, but Jimmy dropped some passes. Richardson dropped an easy pass as well. So we just dropped passes that we should have caught, whereas the Falcons caught everything. So small tangent there, but just taking a step back, being like, overall the defense, if you look at what we held them to, the Falcons in general played pretty well. We gave them short field. They had a defensive score. And we did some dumb things, right? So overall defense played pretty well, and I think that starts up the middle and up the gut. The Falcons did not run the ball exceptionally well this game, and the big reason is because of number 91 and number 92, and they deserve a lot of credit. Now, Nas Jones was in the backfield causing havoc a couple times during the game, making some big tackles for a loss or right at the line of scrimmage, and then Sheldon, deserves as well. Bottom line is, at the most crucial moment of the game, on third down, with some time left on the clock there, he gets a gigantic sack. He just gets off the line incredibly well, and gets Matty Ice, the Mattrel, Matty Mediocre, and gets him to the mat, and gets us off the field and gets us the ball back. It was just a huge play. So consistently good play throughout the game from 91, 92, and then when the chips were down, when we needed a third down stop, what could you ask for? Sheldon Richardson steps up, gets to Matt Ryan, and it puts him on the floor. All right, Flock, if you made it this far, we do have a treat for you. So this is the favorite section, the numero uno section, because it's actually created by all of y'all who listen, all of y'all who are Seahawkers Podcast listeners and fanatics, and the folks that join us on Twitter during the week and at the games, and hashtag 3i30, or if it's in the Facebook Ring of Honor and you're tagging things in or out, I try and go grab them all. So I got a little montage, a little montage, and all the ages coming right at. All right, let's start off with this little beauty from Paul Westland. Paul, what can we say? Hat tip, good job. And good job by Annalisa, turning this Facebook post up to 11, the great Spinal Tap reference. Nicely done. All right. My mom raised a gentleman, so Ella first on this one. She was not too happy with the poor coaching, but she was fired up about Davis in the run game, which I gotta say, can't blame her. All right, and Flocktimus had a little 3-pack up top. Nico saw some play at DB, played pretty darn well. Nas Jones, we talked about him earlier, and Nueve Exeter, or however you pronounce that. Either way, that's Tedrick Thompson. Tedrick Thompson with a big recovery. I think it's pretty safe to say that Aaron has a thing for Jimmy. You know what? So do I. I'm into Jimmy. We hear you, Jimmy. We hear you. Back to a double dip from Twitter. This time, Flocktimus Prime giving some love to Ryans with, that is, of course, Lockett. Lockett had a solid game back there for special teams. And if there's one thing you can count on, well, you can bet your bottom dollar, or your pound for that matter, that Ross Bell is going to be cheeky. The man from the UK is cheeky. Well, we knew at some point this would be coming. Lisa Carlson nails it, brings back the facts of life, and oh, Blair. And it's also pretty evident that Kofi is just not feeling one Blair Walsh at this point. And then we have Gary with some good-humored ribbing of Flocktimus Prime. We talked about this earlier, and we talked about Flocktimus. But I must say, hey, let's roll right to this. I love you, man. I forgive you. You know this. And speaking of the love from the Godfather, one of the 2 founding Godfathers of the Seahawkers Podcast, Adam Emmert, posting this after the tough loss. And you know what? It's absolutely true. We get together on the Ring of Honor, the Seahawkers Podcast Ring of Honor, during the game, during the week, post-game, pre-game, and it's nothing but a lot of love and a lot of fun. And hey, this is a tough loss. We're gonna bounce back. We're 6-4. This is still our division to go win, and high confidence that we can put this together. We have the offense. Think we have enough depth on defense. Let's go beat the 49ers. Most importantly, happy. Gotta match the mosts with the happy. Always gotta match. But everybody, I hope you had a happy and awesome Thanksgiving. Spend that time, reflection, gratefulness for what we have, our time together. Most important thing we have is our time. So, and I really appreciate all the Seahawkers podcast listeners taking time to listen to this pod, read the blog posts. True enjoyment, get a ton of enjoyment out of it, and I hope that I'm able to bring a little bit of joy and happiness, and hopefully a couple of laughs as well to all the Rabbit fans out there. So with that, everybody, I hope everybody had a fantastic and happy Thanksgiving. Let's go beat the 49ers this Sunday, and go Hawks.